Hello my students, hello grade 4. This is Ms. Shurooq, social studies teacher. Today we will take lesson number 2, chapter 5. The title of the lesson is the Persian Empire. Let's start the lesson. The Persian Empire, it's very large. The Persian Empire was one of the largest civilizations that the ancient world had seen. So it is very large civilization. Okay, so this civilization is very large civilization. This civilization stretched from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indus River Valley. This civilization, or the Persians, developed a military power. Okay, developed a military power and moved out of their homeland to conquer their neighbors. So again, the Persians developed, or the Persian Empire developed a military power and moved out of their homeland to conquer their neighbors. Okay? But this civilization were conquered by Macedonian general Alexander the Great. So this civilization finished and were conquered by Macedonian general Alexander the Great. So again, what do you have to memorize about this civilization? It is a very large civilization and it has military power, and the Persians Empire, or the civilization, developed a military power and moved out of their homeland to conquer their neighbors. Okay, and this civilization is very big and it's very large. It is stretched from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indus River Valley. But this civilization finished. Okay, and this civilization were conquered. They were conquered by Macedonian general Alexander the Great. Okay, now let's talk about Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great, he's a Persian Empire. Okay, he was powerful empire. He's Persian Empire and powerful, brilliant and powerful empire. And Cyrus the Great conquered nearby lands. Okay, he conquered nearby lands and he was very good with people. Okay, he treated people in a good way. Okay, he allowed the people he conquered, he allowed them to speak their own languages, practice their own religions, and follow their own ways of life. That's why he was popular. Okay, and this thing made it easier for him to create his huge empire. Okay. So again, Cyrus the Great, he's a brilliant and powerful Persian king, and he conquered a lot of lands. He conquered nearby lands. He was a tolerant ruler towards the people he conquered. He treated them in a good way. Okay, he allowed them to speak their own languages, practice their own religions, and follow their own ways of life. He was very good with them. He treated them in a good way. That's why he was popular. This thing made it easier for him to create his huge empire. Okay, now let's talk about the Persian Wars. Okay, the Persian Empire wanted to extend its territory. The Persian Empire wanted to make its land bigger and bigger, and they tried several times to make its land bigger and bigger. The Persian Empire wanted to extend its territory, and they tried many times to conquer the main Greek cities such as Athens and Sparta. They tried many times to conquer the main Greek cities, Athens and Sparta. That's why King Darius, the king of Persia, he prepared very huge army to conquer Athens and Sparta at that time. They made huge battles such as Marathon, Thermopylae, and Salamis. They invaded Greece but never conquered it. Each time the Persians were convinced they could easily conquer the Greeks drove them away. So they tried more than one time, but the Greeks drove them away. They never conquered Greeks. So again, let's talk about the Persian Wars. Again, the Persian Empire wanted to make its land bigger and bigger, wanted to extend its territory. They tried several times, many times, to conquer the main Greek cities such as Athens and Sparta. They tried many times. King Darius prepared very huge army and a strong army to conquer these cities. Okay, they prepared a very huge army, and they made huge battles with them, such as Marathon, Thermopylae, and Salamis. They invaded Greece but never conquered it. They tried many times, but the Greeks drove them away. Okay, guys, this is our lesson for today. Please study well. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.